Hello, everyone. So today I want to talk about what's going on with Pam Bondi and her Department of Justice, and why does it appear like Department of Justice is defending the NFA in the case down in Texas. Okay, so a lot of gun channels have come out and they're like, "Oh, Pam Bondi, big disappointment. She's a traitor. She was supposed to." Help us get rid of the NFA. Why is she now defending it? Here's the thing. I wanted to wait. Okay, I wanted to wait to see and hear what Mark Smith had to say at the Four Boxes Diner channel. Okay, so that guy's a constitutional scholar. Okay, he's somebody that's a high enough level lawyer that he speaks in front of the Federalist Society, basically I want to hear his opinion, right? Because he's the expert on Second Amendment court cases. Okay, like myself, I'm a gun expert. I'm a full-time gun instructor. I'm not a lawyer. Okay, so I want to go to the expert on this. Okay, so I think a lot of these gun channels, and I follow them. I like them. They're good, but they're not lawyers. Okay, so I wanted to hear what Mark Smith had to say, and I actually listened to his video twice on this. I listened to it when it came out. I think it was not yesterday, the day before that, and I also listened to it again right before I did this video. So it's a really important video that I think you guys should listen to if you're interested in this whole thing with getting the suppressors and the SBRs out of the NFA. And I'm going to put a link below in the comments and also in the description. Okay, so go listen to this guy. Don't listen to the rest of us that are not lawyers, right? And it's not enough that we're not lawyers. We're not like expert lawyers on the Second Amendment, and particularly in terms of cases that are running, working their way up to the Supreme Court. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to say. Go listen to that guy. But in case you are not, okay, and there's many reasons why you may not, because maybe you're busy, whatever. I'm going to give you guys a summary. All right, a summary. Now the summary is not going to be as good as what he says, but I'm going to give you guys a summary. So first, let's take a step back. What's going on here? How did this whole thing come about? Back in March 2025, big beautiful bill passes, which reduces the tax on suppressors and SBRs from $200 down to $0. Okay. Initially, they were trying to get those two items out of the NFA completely. That failed. Okay. And here's the important thing, right? It failed, but in order to get it to pass, right, to get it passed with just the part of reducing the tax stamp down to $0 from $200, there was a really big deal about it, right? Andrew Clyde and a couple of other Republicans were basically holding this bill up and preventing it from passing, and there was a whole meeting that happened at the White House with Trump, and they worked out some type of a deal where those Republicans and Andrew Clyde, which was the main guy behind this, agreed to vote for this. Okay, so that right there, that's telling you something. Okay, it seems like Trump at this point understands that this is something that's really, really important to us. Okay, probably more important than most of the other stuff he's doing. Right. So he understands that, all right? It's been made extremely clear to Trump and his staff and the people that work under him, which includes Pam Bondi. So for them to now be defending the NFA, like right away, like there's got to be more to this than what appears. Okay, so first of all, this case is happening down in Texas, okay, and we know that these Texas courts, they're very Second Amendment friendly, okay. So right away, just out of the gate, there's a really good chance that we're going to win this case in Texas, right? basically the odds are in our favor, right? The odds are statistically in our favor. Okay? So that's number one. Okay? Number two, if you listen to Mark Smith, right, who's basically looked at the lawyers, he's looked at the briefing that the lawyers on this case from the Department of Justice has made, and it's his opinion that those lawyers are basically the B team. Okay, Pam Bondi appears to not have thrown the A team into this. She has thrown the B team into this. Okay, now he said that it's not like the arguments that they're making are like complete junk, right? Because if they're complete junk, everybody, the judges would kind of see through that. So they are making arguments, but again, they're not like the best arguments that could be made. Okay, so number one, court, it's down in Texas, which basically we're basically playing on a very favorable field. Okay, number two, the lawyers that the Department of Justice has thrown into this are second-rate lawyers. Okay, and number three, Mark Smith explains that there's a strategy that is quite possibly being employed here, where even if we lose at this level, right, the Department of Justice has the option of flipping sides later on. Okay, now this isn't just reaching out of thin air. He actually explains that this Department of Justice has successfully employed this tactic in the past, and the example that he uses is the Supreme Court case that involved gay marriage. Okay, I'm not going to take a position for or against here, but I'm just going to say that this is the case that he used, and in that case, right, when Obama was campaigning, right, he was campaigning in favor of gay marriage. Okay, he was campaigning in favor of it. So once he's in office, this case comes up, right, and what Obama and Eric Holder, who's his attorney general at the time, they take the position against gay marriage, right? So they were defending a law, and I don't know exactly which law. They were defending the law that essentially prohibited, federal law that prohibited gay marriage, to put it in layman's terms. Okay, so initially they came out in the court, right, at the lower court, at the trial court level, against gay marriage, and the gay community was really pissed off at Obama, right? Like they felt betrayed by Obama, okay, and Eric Holder. So the Department of Justice kept that position up until the point where it got to the Supreme Court. And when it got to the Supreme Court, which was Obama's third year, right, the Eric Holder's Department of Justice switched sides, right? When they got to the court, they switched sides, and now they're saying, yeah, you know what, we've changed our minds. We agree that this is now unconstitutional, and they won, right? They, as in Eric Holder's Department of Justice, the people in favor of gay marriage, they won, and the way that they won is by Department of Justice initially coming out against it at the lower court levels, and then once it got to the Supreme Court, they flipped sides. So this isn't just like making up stuff and hoping and trying to play some type of 3D chess, fantasy here. This is a technique that has actually been used in the past and has been successful. It has been successfully been used in the past. If you go watch this video, which I'm going to link from Mark Smith, Four Boxes Diner, he will give you the details of this. Okay, so it seems to me that that's exactly what's going on here, right? Because there's been so many other cases where in fact, the Department of Justice has taken a position in favor of the Second Amendment. Okay, so this case seems to be the exception, where they're going against the Second Amendment. Okay, so number one, that seems kind of strange, seems kind of weird. Okay, And number two, this is a high-profile issue. Okay, the big beautiful bill was actually delayed, held up because of this issue. Okay, so Republicans, Trump especially, is aware that this is extremely important to us. Okay, so I think there's a lot more than meets the eye here, and I think that we're supposed to be mad at the Department of Justice for taking that position because that's the role that we're supposed to play. But I think that in the long run, they're probably going to flip on this, and I think it's gonna work out in our favor. And I'm gonna tell you guys, if it doesn't, basically this is a kind of a do or die for us. Okay, in terms of suppressors and SBRs. Because the tax stamp was $200. The Republicans were able to use a 50% vote, right, or 51% vote, to reduce the tax stamp from $200 to zero. Okay, if Democrats get back into power, all right, they're going to use that same mechanism to raise the tax stamp up to like $5,500. They've already introduced a bill to do that. Okay, so they're gonna do it. They're already attempting to do it, even though they know they're not going to succeed now. They will succeed if they ever get a trifecta again, and it's extremely likely that they will. Okay, don't pay attention to people telling you that Democrats are never going to win again. It's extremely likely that, in my opinion, that they're going to win the midterms, and they're probably going to win 2028. The reason why I say that is because as long as Republicans leave the filibuster in place, they really can't get a whole lot done, right? They are essentially lame ducks, okay? And if they lose the midterms, which is very likely, they're going to get even less stuff done. And then if they lose the House, Democrats are going to start the whole impeachment thing all over again. So the next 3 years are going to be a complete failure for the Republicans. So going into the 2028 elections, Republicans got nothing to show, and basically they're going to lose because the moderates, the people in the middle, the independents are going to say, hey, Republicans can't get anything done. Let's try the other side. Okay, that's not how I see it, but that's how they see it. Okay, you got to kind of try and put yourself in their position. So what's going to happen is if Democrats get a trifecta, they're going to raise the tax stamp from zero up to at least $5,000, maybe even more. Okay, maybe $10,000. I mean, they can do anything they want. They can, once they get that. I mean, there's nothing to stop them from doing anything they want. There's a good chance that they might even remove the filibuster. Okay, in fact, it is highly likely that they will remove the filibuster. And all this is going to happen because Republicans, being fully aware that Democrats want to get rid of the filibuster, refuse to do it themselves. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to give you guys, another view, what I think makes a lot more sense. And even though I kind of thought this was going on, or something along these lines was going on. And I didn't have a reference to the gay marriage case where this technique has actually been employed successfully. I didn't have that reference, but I knew that, hey, it didn't make sense for the Department of Justice to try and defend the NFA when they know that the base absolutely hates it. So that's why I suspected there had to be something more going on here. And if you go to the link below, Mark Smith, Florida Boxers Diner, he will explain everything I just told you guys in more eloquent detail. Okay, so drop some comments, let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you all soon.